Okay, so our group's presentation is about glycine. And to start out, we're going to talk about where glycine is found in brain systems. So, glycine is found in a few different places. First of all, in the lower midbrain. Overall, it's only found in lower brain levels that control motor functions and things related to that. It's not really present in higher level brain areas. Um, and it's also found in the hypothalamus and thalamus. Um, and this is where it controls voluntary movement, and it also responds to afferent signals, which are signals coming into the brain. Um, and lastly, it's found in the medulla oblongata and the medulla spinalis, which is the spinal cord. And here it's released by interneurons in lumbosacral gray matter. Um, and in these areas, it controls spinal cord reflexes.
So glycine is an amino acid which is typically made from other amino acids in the human body, but in neurons, it's made specifically from the amino acid serine using the enzyme serine hydroxymethyltransferase, and it's made in the mitochondria of a presynaptic neuron. And then the glycine is then packaged into vesicles via the vesicular inhibitory amino acid transporter, which is also known as the vesicular GABA transporter.
So how does glycine cause an effect after this in the synapse? Glycine is itself an inhibitory neurotransmitter, and it gets received by glycine receptors, which are ionotropic receptors that receive the molecule and open themselves for the influx of chloride. And the flow of that negative ion causes hyperpolarization. So it causes an inhibitory postsynaptic potential, an IPSP. On the right, you can see a picture of multiple different neurotransmitters, but glycine here is attaching to the GLYR glycine receptor and causing chloride influx. But glycine also works in kind of an opposite effect by acting as a co-agonist for NMDA receptors along with glutamate. So it's required to be there in order for NMDA receptors to function. And that has an excitatory effect. So that causes an EPSP.
And finally, how is glycine cleared from the synaptic cleft? There are mainly two ways. The first one is diffusion, which means some of the glycine can actually diffuse into surrounding extracellular fluid. And the second one is reuptake. So glycine can be removed by specific high affinity glycine transporters, which are usually mediated by sodium and chloride ions. There are two types of them, which are very similar in their structure, but functions differently due to their locations. The first one is glycine transporter 1. These are located in glial cells, as you can see on the picture on the right. They function to catalyze the removal of glycine. And the second one is glycine transporter 2. They located in neuronal membranes, and they can reuptake the glycine back to the nerve terminals so that these neurotransmitters can be reloaded into vesicles for reusing purpose.
Now we'll go over some interesting facts we found about glycine.
So first, this is one of the diseases that are related to glycine. This is hyperplexia, and it's also known as human startle disease. So this is rare and it's a possibly fatal disease. And it occurs when glycine receptors are mutated, which results in muscle contraction when met with unexpected stimuli from the environment. This could be like a bright light or a really loud noise, and this is why it gets the name human startle disease. So these receptors become less sensitive to glycine, and the number of receptors is just decreased. So the channels aren't passing as many currents through. And this overall impedes the person with this disease, their ability to walk and maintain posture.
And the second interesting fact we found was that there's a condition where there's too much glycine in the body, which is called non-ketotic hyperglycemia. And it's caused by a genetic condition where there's a defect in the enzyme system, which is typically responsible for breaking down glycine. So once that enzyme system is defected, you'll end up with an accumulation of glycine in the body. And the symptoms typically present as soon as the child is born or within the first few weeks or months. And the symptoms can show up in forms of lethargy, lack of muscle tone, seizures, developmental delay, and feeding problems.
Glycine is also found to help improve sleep qualities. First, they can lower the body core temperature by increasing the blood flow, and a low body temperature is very important for getting a good sleep. And secondly, they can improve daytime wakefulness by increasing the expression of arginine vasopressin, which is a hormone that helps to regulate circadian rhythms of sleep.
And these are our references.
Thank you for listening.